I think it's important that we develop the ability to make equipment and supplies for adventurers. Claire nervously spoke out loud to a room full of adults. Even if they were either family or like family, it still made her hesitant to voice out her thoughts to the group. As she peeked at Darlena, Claire noticed the robot nod its head. It was like Darlena was trying to urge Claire to voice her thoughts. Straightening her back and squaring her shoulders, more energy was put into her voice. This world has changed from what it used to be. Even though this was something obvious, Claire still wanted to test the room and see how they'd react to her taking a more assertive role. Seeing that they were taking her seriously, she felt more assured that what she was doing was correct. Currently, the mysterious energy is likely one of the most important resources we have available to us. From what I understand, the energy will allow us to go up against the modified humans and other threats on this new world. Her eyes looked at each of them. Next to her, she could feel Hannah placing a hand on her back. It felt like Hannah was saying she had Claire's back. Though everyone was taking what Claire was saying seriously, each of the people in the room had a varying degree of surprise by how Claire was putting herself out there. Instead of being a middle schooler, the girl had turned into a woman, and someone who demanded respect. Abby nodded her head approvingly at how Claire was stepping up. But from what I understand, the places inside this underground city where there are pure levels of energy exist behind paywalls. For us to be able to access them, we need to be in a position of financial strength and having more guild points. From what Darlena explained to Hannah and me, the main areas where guild points can be earned are jobs inside the simulation, the auction house, and store. Claire raised one hand, numbering off each option with a finger. Though none of you have taken on a job, I think you can see it as a one-time project where you get paid after you complete the task. The amount you earn is dependent on the difficulty and danger of the request made to the guild. That makes sense. Tommy nodded his head at Claire's words. It's like taking up a contract to build a house or freelancing. The monetary benefits would definitely be tied to the difficulty of the task. Abby snorted. It sounds like the mercenary groups I've had to deal with while I was overseas. They'd get hired to guard precious oil pipelines or atomic power plants. If the owner of the contract were to be assassinated, then the mercenaries would heartlessly retreat. Her mouth was formed into a scowl, as though just thinking about the people turned her stomach. Listening to Abby, Tommy nodded in agreement at her words. Not wanting to be sidetracked on a tangent, Claire continued. The areas I think are important to focus on are the auction house and store. These areas will take the equipment we make from raw materials taken from the simulation and exchange them with adventurers for guild points. Sounds like once we develop the supply chain, we'd be able to churn out equipment to be sold to the auction house or store without needing to overly expose ourselves to danger. Brooke nodded, reaching the same conclusion before Claire could articulate it. Yep, Candace nodded, turning to look at Darlena. The guild will even provide us with the areas to create the equipment, right? I remember that being mentioned during the orientation video. Her father's eyes widened when he remembered that information. That's correct. The guild will provide a free-of-charge manufacturing room meant to give the user some practical experience. Raising a finger, Darlena reminded them, in order to continue using the room for free, you must produce an item during the required time limit. Shrugging, Candace looked at her twin. They give us training on how to do it, so I can't imagine it being harder than going through medical school.